Hey guys, Mr. Riz here. So I'm going to help you out with the 1.1.5 part one activity. So what we're going to be looking at is using something known as a loop. So we're going to take our guessing game, we're going to make it better by including a randomness element. So where if you wanted to play this game by yourself, you can still have it play and you don't know the secret number, where we create a random secret number. So our goals throughout this project is to make sure we learn to use the while loops in a program. We're also going to learn to increment a count. We're going to apply coding fundamentals to create an algorithm. We're going to pair program to develop a single player game. Actually, no, we're not going to do that because of social distancing right now. We're not going to be working together with somebody. We're going to still work on our own, but we'll just kind of pretend we're working together. So our ultimate goal here is to add a random number generator to modify the app from the previous activity that we did from a 2-player game to now a 1-player game. So we're going to skip this part about pair programming. This was an activity we want to work together to make sure you guys know how, and we've been working together throughout this whole time. Maybe next year when this class is a little bit different, we'll be working together more often and you guys won't be leaning so much on me. But it's just to make sure that when we're pair programming, it's kind of good to have some person be the driver, meaning they're the person who does the coding. They're the ones working on the computer. They're doing everything. And the other person is the navigator. They're telling the person what they do, where the driver never tells the person what they're going to do, and the navigator never touches the keyboard. It's a good way to work together on both your verbal skills and then your listening skills. And these are roles that can be switched off, every day or halfway through the period and back and forth. So we've kind of talked about this, but the user story here is to take that 1-player or that 2-player game that we had and to add or update it to be able to create a random number. And we will let the person decide how many digits they want that random number to be. So if they want a 1-digit number, that could be a 0 through 9. If they want 2, it could be 0 through 99, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's take a look at what we have and what we're going to add to it. So before the game we had, okay, where they guess and they can play the computer. So what we're going to do here is to update our game. You can see here we want to change this to play a computer again, so make the replay label change. And then what we want to do here is to have this like extra, looks like a horizontal element of how many places you want. Okay, so this is going to be an activity where we introduce a concept known as loop. So in the last activity, you incremented the value of the guess number stored in a variable. Every guess of the guess remaining variable was decreased by 1. So a loop automates the process that occurs multiple times based on a starting input and an exit condition. Another word for a loop is an iteration. So you'll hear me use both of those. They basically mean the same thing. All right, you've been doing the iterative process by going through your code and modifying it for a specific purpose at a time. You may have also seen iteration of variables in the game that if you played and or when you read sheet music, I'm sure you guys do that as well. So you're going through step by step, change by change, one thing at a time. So games that have a life counter move through the game until you lose your game's lives. Then the game loops through the next segment of levels of the game, or until your life counter runs out, you exit the loop by getting out of the end segment. So you can see we have a pattern that we could go through, and as long as we have lives, we keep this loop going. So each time through the loop, the iteration makes the number of lives variable have 1 less until the counter gets down to 0, then the game ends. So a loop's going to keep going as long as we are meeting the conditions. Once we stop, that loop ends. So sheet music uses a say this again. Sheet music uses repeat features and symbols for sections like the chorus to save the amount of space. So if you guys remember, you'll see like little symbols at the end. The sheet music, they'll tell you to repeat it so many times. All right, the music specifies a certain number of times to repeat the section, and when that number is met, you move on to the next part. Okay, so let's talk about implementing the loop in our game. So to play a guessing game that never changes, you're gonna, it wouldn't be that fun. If you just had the same number every time, once you figure it out, it's gonna be the same when you replay it. So we're gonna develop an algorithm, or if-then structure kind of way of solving this, that will randomly generate a new number each time the game is played. To then make the app more markable, it is helpful to give the user some control of the level that they want. So we didn't want to just be like, hey, let's make a random number 1 to 1,000. Well, that can be okay for some people. That'd be like really hard for my 3-year-old. All right. Somebody who's pretty smart can probably get 1 through 1,000 in 7 guesses or less. All right, so they want to change the difficulty. All right, to make this possible, we're going to set up an algorithm that lives through as many times as the user provides the number of place values that it prefers. All right, so in the math drawer, there's a block that says random integer 0 through 9. This is what we're going to use to help us out. This game will allow the user to enter the number, what the range should be. The ones, tens, hundreds can hold each of the range of the numbers 0 through 9. The goal of the program is to randomly generate each one of those places individually, and as for many places. So I'm going to kind of put this on here. What our overall goal is to say, you know, we're going to ask the user, I'm going to try to write on here, you know, we'll ask the user, so how many digits? How many digits? And if a person says, they say 3, what's going to happen is the computer's going to go blank, 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 and they're going to pick a number 0 through 9. They'll pick like 1, and then another number 0 through 9, 8, and another random number between 0 and 9, 6. And all right, 186 would be that. Or, you know, hypothetically, if they say 3 again, okay, it could be like 0, 0, 2, which was just 2, but that is a random number that is, you know, 3 digits. If somebody says 5, the computer will go blank, 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 blank. They'll make 5 blanks at a time and make a random number with 5 digits. 3, 4, 6, 6, 1. All right, just thinking of random numbers here, and we build that. So that makes the random number 34,661, which is 5 digits long. So that's going to be our overall goal of this. You know, the user will tell how many digits they want it to be, and then our code will create a random number that long by making a random number at each place value. All right, so the user wants to generate small or large numbers based on their preference. Using a loop called the random iterator block, this will allow us to make larger, smaller random numbers to generate based on how many times the loop iterates. So if the user wants to guess a number up to 9,999, they would enter 4 in the enter integer input text box because they want to have 4 place values. The value 4 is stored into the variable that triggers the loops to stop. So you can see we'll start off with 3, then it would go to 5. Okay, so it would be 4 blanks here. We get the first one, then we get the next one, then the next one, then the next one. Okay. So if you haven't completed the 114 activity, you can download a copy of it here now. So nobody has an excuse like, oh, I didn't do 114, I can't do 115. It's right here right now. All you need to download and save that, and you can open that up. But we are going to start making this game. So I'm going to split screen this here. I'm going to open up my app inventor. Oh, I guess I had a session timeout here. And let's get this going. Seems not be working right now. Alrighty, so I need to find my I think this was it. Yeah, there we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save project as, you know, 115 part 1. Okay, so let's go through this. We want to open this game that we made. We're going to save it as something new. So we can take pairs and determine who's going to do this, but let's add a new file or new label called the testing label. All right, so we're going to just make a label here. We're going to drag it out here, and we're going to rename this one as testing label. This is going to be used as what's known as like a tracer round. We're going to use this label here to get our randomly generated number, and we're going to see that it works before we have it stored as the secret number. We want to make sure that when we use this, it works before we actually apply it, because if the secret number, remember, is not visible to the user, we never see what that variable is. But if we have it on this label here, we can use that kind of help us out. So once we get this app working and works good, we'll get rid of this label. We'll just make the text, you know, we'll make it invisible, or we'll just turn it off. But you know, we're going to use that to help us out. Next, we're going to add a text box. So let's do that. That's right here. We'll drag that out. We're going to rename this text box to num integer input. where the user is going to type in the number of integers. Now we probably want to go ahead and make the properties be numbers only, so the user can only type in numbers here. That way we never want to have the person, how many integers do you want? Apple. Well, that doesn't make sense. All right, next what we're going to do is we need a button, don't we? Did it not say bring out a button? Oh, we need to have a button. Okay, and in fact, let's go to our user thing here. Let's drag out, oh, how many places do you want? Oh, okay, I guess we're going to do something here. So right here we have a text that says, like, in a horizontal arrangement, how many places do you want? Okay. What am I looking for? I'm just looking for a label here. I was thinking about horizontal, and we'll rename this label as, oh, it doesn't really matter. Cancel it. We're going to just change the property of this text to say, how many places do you want? How many number places do you want? Question mark. And let's drag this into a horizontal arrangement. So that's in our layout and a horizontal arrangement. We'll drag this in here, and then we'll drag the text box in. And let's go ahead and change some of these properties here. So we'll make the width fill parent. That'll make it look better. No, we'll make this one width fill parent. That'll look better. No, we're probably gonna make the whole horizontal arrangement width fill parent. There we go. That's better. So this is pretty much it for part one. And what you guys will do here is to make sure it looks right. So the user is going to type in a number here to the enter num integer input. They're going to say, I want a 3-digit number. So they'll type in 3 and they'll click the reset play again, which we might want to change to play computer again, play against the computer. We might even want to put that down here. Maybe that would make it look better. Okay, so once you have this set up and you like your screen, I want you guys to screenshot an image of this, and we're going to upload this to the discussion board post. So once you have it set up, we're not doing any code today. We're just getting the structure set up. So if you guys are all good and set, you guys are good to go to part two. Now ask some questions, and I'll see you guys next time.